Hare Krishna. Wow. You can see me without tilak the day after the big function. I'm not functioning to the same level as I usually do. But I'm so eager to have class. Yeah. Okay. Reading from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Canto 10, chapter 46, verse 27. śrī-śuka uvāca iti saṁsmṛtya Nanda Kṛṣṇānurakta-dhīḥ aty-utkaṇṭho bhavat tūṣṇīṁ prema-prasara-vihvalaḥ. Śukadeva Gosvāmī said, thus intensely remembering Krishna again and again, Nanda Mahārāja, his mind completely attached to the Lord, felt extreme anxiety and fell silent, overcome by the strength of his love. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So greetings from New Jersey. We came back last night after the function. That probably most of you or many of you attended. It was a wonderful function. And what I liked about it is, even though I was kind of in the morning before the Vyas Puja, it's not a heavy anxiety, but I'm not really afraid anything's going to go wrong, but just a sense of coming there and having to sit. Wow, the decorations, it was so classy that was made, amazing. Everything was first class. I have to say that. I mean, my nature is in functions, and those who've gone to any of my festivals or functions, is for those type of things, I'm aware of every detail. I'm aware of every person's mind. I have a desire that people will be satisfied and happy. So it's so well organized, I don't even worry about that anymore. Down to the detail. It was really first class. But what I appreciate is, even though at the beginning, okay, sitting on the seat, it's so decorated, is at the end, I don't feel it's about me, which is much better for bhakti. I feel it's about a principle of gratitude, a principle of what's given our disciplic succession, and the potential of it when there is community, cooperative, on a higher objective of service that manifests, in a loving offering. And the power of it, that's what I really like, because I know, people come and let's face it, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, this temporary material world is full of suffering. Take shelter of the holy name of Krishna as your only business. There's a lot of suffering, and it's not just karmically outside, it's karmically inside. And I see sometimes, because I'm very acute, there's always one or two people that are either depressed or anxiety, or maybe even have social inhibitions for, coming, but come because of me. And then to see at the end the joy and the transformation, the joy, and and the acceptance of community, and the appreciation of what Prabhupada gave, it's quite a wonderful experience. And the special feature of when I looked out and I saw the kirtaniers that were there, I almost felt, I thought we could have had a kirtan mela. And I made sure there was a lot more kirtan, because even in the ceremony, I stopped twice just to have people just lead kirtan. So it was really great. It was really a wonderful function, especially for me, who is a connoisseur. And the feast, I was sitting with two godbrothers who are my age, my age, and who are real New Yorkers. And I don't know if you can understand the culture of New Yorkers my age, but they express their affection in being insulting, grumpy, criticizing. And I enjoy it because I'm also from there. But so I was sitting, and people know Arjuna, he's always got something to say. And Satyaraj, he's not easy to please. But to see them actually kind of blown away by the feast, how first class it was. The aloo bandhu, those fried potato things, and the cream sauce kafta. I mean, these were gourmet. And I was even commenting that the people that were sitting on my table were all very, very close with Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Arjuna was Tamal Krishna Maharaj's best friend in Dallas. It was the only person who was really his age he can relate to. And he lived in Dallas. And Satyaraj is very, very, very close with Tamal Krishna Maharaj from the academy. He's one of my best friends, Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And Henry was there, who was also close. And then Jai Subhadra, who's his disciple, and she's also now taking some shelter from me. She was, in charge of the prasadam. And I thought that would be so pleasing to him, and his presence was felt by the quality of it. And the service and the menus. Is that the menu here? Yeah, there we go. I don't know if it turns up verse. It does, doesn't it? We even had nice menus. I don't know how to do that, so it's not reverse. Okay. Anyway, all glories to Prabhupada. Jai Jagannath was there, which was really nice, and the kirtans he led and the words he spoke. So there was a lot of people that I wasn't expecting. Some people from Boston that I haven't seen in a while. So it was great. So, okay, now this Bhagavatam, and generally when I say I'm not at my best, it comes out better. So I don't know what that means, but definitely not as fit as I usually am for class today. But I always appreciate the 10th canto and the demonstration of perfected love. The demonstration of perfected love that should inspire us to have that perfected love, because we all have to have an objective. And our goal is going to be happiness. But hopefully, our goal of happiness is lined up with what real happiness is, which is not selfishness, it's selflessness. So even though there's this altruistic sense of, I want happiness, it only comes when you don't have an altruistic sense. So it's really nice to have the goal to not be the center, to not be the enjoyer, to not be the controller, to not have a sense of superiority, but gopi bhartu parakamala dasa dasa anudasa, but to be the servant of the servant. And that sense of servant of the servant of the servant, it's the sense of removing oneself further and further from any sense of, I am the center, I am the controller. Gopi partu parakamala dasa 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 anudasa, again, to remove ourselves. And the further we remove ourselves from that conception, the more the real sense of the heart awakens. And I described that yesterday in a kind of an analogy. We have a circle and we're in the center of the circle. And the circle is ignorance. It's this cloud that prevents the sun of Krishna's connection, which invokes the love in our hearts, which is the real pleasure, from entering. And what is that cloud of ignorance? It is that sense of superiority and control. And it's what prevents us. And what opens that cloud is humility. And what that humility is accepting that there's an absolute truth. That we're not that our desires, our opinions, I mentioned this so many times, that humility and that character to accept something higher than ourselves is to transcend the point, the conception of self-centeredness and selfishness, which is one of the aspects of the Guru Parampara. It's one of the aspects when we accept that truth and we accept it comes in a tradition and we accept that there are people that follow it and we have the character to want to live by the truth. Not blindly, but by education and understanding what the truth is. And as we've assimilated and understand this is truth, having the fortitude and the discipline to say, I will guide my life, I will live by this. And those are the people we admire and like. Those are called saints. And if you look in your community, who's the person you like? That person. You like that person who doesn't move simply by their desires and their opinions. They move by a thoughtfulness and a faith, which is bhakti. So to hear about this, and it's so exalted that Krishna wants his best devotee, who is Buddhi Sattama Sakshad Sisha Brihaspati, who is Krishnasya Dayata Sakya, the beloved of Krishna, wants him to see this and be inspired by this, and to take it back to Dwarka and explain this. And also be in that process for us who are observing this to see this, that this is love and this is the goal and this is where we have to move. And this is where we have to struggle against our ego. That's why humility is such strength, because you can control the ego. That's why this modern world is going to hell, because people have very superficial virtue singling understandings. And they accept postmodern conceptions that there's no authority, there's no God, the truth is subjective, except that truth which I give you, that truth is subjective. Ruining everything. But anyway, Uddhava comes and he's seeing this love. And Nanda Mahārāja begins to inquire. He begins to inquire about Krishna. First in an indirect way, just asking about his father and the situation, and then smṛtya, remembering, intensely remembering, because it's saṁsmṛtya. Smṛtya means remembering, some means complete. Saṁsmṛtya, complete, intense, remembering again and again. Who is kṛṣṇānurakta-dhīḥ. His mind is anurakta, completely attached to Krishna. And not just a person in the world. He's attracted to Krishna. He loves Krishna. He loves the absolute truth. If you step back a little bit, what does that mean? It means that there's a universal reality that we're part of, and we're meant to share in the joy of that absolute reality by uniting with that absolute reality in love. So here's someone saṁsmṛtya, complete, intense, completely attached. And therefore, aty-utkaṇṭho. Ati means extreme anxiety. And bhavat tūṣṇīṁ, and he became silent. This is the ultimate reality. He's absorbed in the ultimate reality. He's feeling the ultimate reality. And he is, when Yoga Maya puts him in the illusion that he's separate from that ultimate reality, he becomes more unified with that ultimate reality by the mind and consciousness. because our separation from God has to be consciousness. How can you be separated from something that's advayam gyan, that's consciousness, that's pervading everywhere? How can you be separated? You can only be separated in your mind. Mahamaya, you separate in your mind and you forget that absolute reality. Yogamaya, you're separated from that absolute reality. You completely remember that absolute reality, and therefore you're always with that absolute reality. So what's going to happen now is Uddhava, because Krishna gave him the instruction, and he took the order in ecstasy because that was his master. Priti, give some joy to my family. And when he comes and he sees the level of this devotion, he thinks, in one sense, it's amazing how the absolute reality and those in it are beyond duality. Because he's Uddhava. Uddhava means great joy. And what is his great joy? He's seeing this ecstasy. And his mind can work in two platforms. One half of his mind sees this ecstasy, so he's joyful. The other half of the mind sees their torturous separation, even though they're in ecstasy. And therefore, he's going to try to reduce their ecstasy by explaining Krishna's Aishvarya. He's going to explain, no, calm down. Your son's the absolute reality. There's no problem. I think we're gonna take away Uddhava's designation at the beginning of the chapter that he was the most wise and expert counselor in the whole Yadav dynasty, because you don't preach philosophy to cure someone's emotions if it's too powerful. Emotions is too powerful. Someone's in tragedy, they just lost a loved one, and you go, as the embodied soul passes to boyhood, to childhood, to youth, to old age, similarly at the time of death, one goes to its, what? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why? But somehow, Uddhava, it's interesting, Gail. You can't bring this down to the platform of cause and effect. It's ecstasy, it's suffering at the same time, and he's dealing with them both at the same time. He's in joy. Wow. Look at this love. They're never separated from Krishna. Wow. There's so much suffering. Let me explain, let me give them some philosophy. And look at the ecstasy, aty-utkaṇṭho, extreme anxiety. Because this is not just separation. This is separation from, not just separation from God, it's separation from God, who is my child. It separates from a deeper relationship. That's why the separation of the residents of Vrindavan is the most intense, because their love is the most intense. It's the most forceful. It is why Krishna came. He came to taste and preach this type of love, this spontaneous love, where God comes so close as your child, where there's no distance, there's no fear, there's no obligation that weakens that love. And I'm not minimizing Vaikuntha Prem and Vaikuntha love, but somehow or other, in that absolute reality where everyone is satisfied with their connection and relationship with God, there's still some kind of gradation. And therefore, the separation from that love is the most intense. And he fell silent. Why? Because prema-prasara-vihvalaḥ, he's overcome by the force of praying. This is called sattvika bhav. It's not voluntary. It's not like, let me be silent. It's, I cannot speak. I cannot speak. I cannot speak. So this is very forceful love. But now we're going to see another love. And we're going to see another love that's even more powerful, which is Mother Yasoda's. Not mother's love. Father's love is I am the protector. Mother's love is I am the maintainer. And that's so forceful. So Yashodha Varnyamanani Putrasya Charitani Cha Shinvant Yashrun Yavasrakit Snehastuta Pyodara. As Mother Yasoda heard the descriptions of her son's activities, she poured out her tears and milk flowed from her breasts out of love. Now she can't even, Nanda Mahārāja greeted, I would call that right brain love. He greeted, he talked. Yasoda never greeted, she never talked, she never did. Her love is so much that she can't even see. She's blinded from the tears that are coming from her eyes. She's blinded from the tears that are coming from her eyes. Blinded by the tears that are coming from her eyes. Practically her eyes were closed all the time, and she could see nothing in her mind but the face of her son. In her mind, she cannot recognize Uddhava. She cannot treat him with parental affection. She cannot ask questions. She cannot give message. She's even overwhelmed even more. Taya itam bhagavati Krishna Nanda Yashodaya kṛṣṇānurakta-dhīḥ paramam nandam abodhavo muda. Uddhava then joyfully addressed Nanda Mahārāja, having clearly seen the supreme loving attraction he and Yasoda felt for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is paramam nandam, clearly seeing viksha, clearly seeing anuragam, paramam, anuragam, the supreme loving attraction. He saw it. He saw people who could not function. He was functioning. He saw people that cannot function without God. And again, I also always bring it back to the practical. Why should there not, if there's love, why should there not be a reality of love? And if there's a reality of love, why should it not be overwhelming? And why shouldn't it conform to this reality to some extent, where there are people that are in love? And it's a selfless love, and it's an energy of love. And as Advayam Gyan, as nothing is separate from God, it's actually God's own love, which is his own pleasure. Shri Uddhava uvāca yuvam shlagya tamaonunam tehinam ihamanada narayane kila guro yatkrita matir idris. Uddhava said, O respectful Nanda, certainly you and Mother Yasoda are the most praiseworthy parents in the entire world, since you've developed such a loving attitude towards Lord Narayan, the supreme spiritual master of all living beings. He's looking at them and they're condemning themselves. We had love and somehow our son left. What is our love for our son? We have no love. If we had love, how could we have let him go? And Uddhava is saying, no, no. You are Yavan, you too, Nunam, for certain. You are Shlagyatamau. You are praiseworthy. You are the Tamau, the most praiseworthy. You are the most praiseworthy. Why are you the most praiseworthy? Because Kritamati, you have produced a mentality like this. How can anything be more praiseworthy than to develop a mentality like this that had love, overwhelming love? That Sandrandana Visheshatma, Sranda means like metal. There's nothing that pierces the consciousness of your thoughts of Krishna, saṁsmṛtya, intensely remembering again and again. There's nothing else in your consciousness. You are the most praiseworthy. This is the height of reality. Because you are loving the Supreme. Of course, the praying of Nanda Mahārāja and Yasoda can swallow any conception of Aishwarya as it is nothing. Any conception of Aishwarya that grand and reverent, and no, this is my son the God, my son the king, my son, my son, my son. Without us, he will die. Without us, how will we live? My son, my son. Nothing else in the consciousness. And if you abstract it philosophically, what's in their consciousness? It's the absolute reality and their position in relationship to the absolute reality. And it's manifest in a very personal way. Etau hi vishvasya cha bijoni Ramo mukunda purush. Etau hi vishvasya cha bijayoni Ramo mukunda purusha pradhanam. Anviya bhutesh vilakshanasya ganasya chesh. Janasya cheshata imau paranau. These two lords, Mukunda and Balaram, are each the seed and womb of the existence, the creator and his creative potency. They enter the hearts of living beings and control their conditioned awareness. They are the primeval Supreme Lord. And the living beings, Bhuteshu, Vilakshanasya, who are confused, controlled. The living beings who are controlled. These lords are the lords. Again, those who are controlled by this illusory energy, who do not understand the difference between the soul and the body, who do not understand the distinction between the individual soul and Supreme Lord. So he guides those who are spiritually advanced, and he directs those who want to forget him. Yasmin jana prana viyoga kale Shrinam samavesha manovashudham Niritya karma sayam asuyati Param gatim brahma mayokavana Tasmin bhavantya kilatma hito Tasmin bhavantav akilatma hito Narayane karana martya murto Bhavan vidatam nitaram mahatmam Kim va vashishtam yuvayo sukrityam. Anyone, even a person in an impure state who absorbs his mind in him for just a moment at the time of death, burns up all traces of sinful reactions and immediately attains the supreme transcendental destination in a pure spiritual form as effulgent as the sun. You too have rendered exceptionally loving service to him, Lord Narayan, the super soul of all and the cause of all existence, the great soul who, although original cause of everything, has a human-like form. What pious deeds are still required of you? You have no problem. What is your problem? You're remembering the absolute truth again and again. The Supreme Lord has no effect. No effect. Discrimination cannot overcome supreme emotion. Agam misyat yadirgena kalena vrajamachuta priyambida yasyati pitrur bhagavan sattvatam bhati. Infallible Krishna, the Lord of the devotees, will soon return to Vraja to satisfy his parents. So now he's going to begin delivering his message that Krishna will soon return. Having killed Kamsa, the enemy of all the Yadus in the wrestling arena, Krishna will now surely fulfill his promise to you by coming back. So Krishna said, I will return. So he says, okay, his business is finished. He'll return. O most fortunate ones, do not lament. You will see Krishna again very soon. He is present in the hearts of all living beings, just as a fire lies dormant in wood. Krishna will come soon. Don't worry. Krishna will come soon. For him, no one is especially dear or despicable, superior, inferior, and yet he is not indifferent to anyone. He is free from all desire for respect and yet gives respect to others. He has no mother, no father, no wife, children, or other relatives. No one is related to him, and yet no one is a stranger to him. He has no material body and no birth. He has no work to do in this world that would oblige him to take birth in pure, impure, or mixed species of life, yet to enjoy his pastimes and to deliver his saintly devotees. He manifests himself. Although beyond the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the transcendental Lord accepts association with them as his play. Thus, the unborn Supreme Lord utilizes the material modes to create, maintain, and destroy. Just as a person is whirling around perceives the ground to be turning, one who is affected by false ego thinks himself the doer, when actually only his mind is acting. So that's such a nice analogy. Anyway, bear through this as the Uddhava somehow is trying to pacify them by one, the sense I will return, and the second, some kind of philosophical conception that actually it's illusion that he's even gone. A person whirls and the ground is moving, but it's only in his mind. So it's only in our mind that we're this body, we're this gender, we're this race, that we need a more deep spiritual conception in the world. The Supreme Lord Hari is certainly not your son alone. Rather, being the Lord, he is the Son, soul, father, and mother of everyone. Nothing can said to be exist independent of Lord Achyuta, nothing heard or seen, nothing in the past, present, or future, nothing moving or unmoving, great or small. He's indeed everything. For he is the Supreme Soul, so he's trying to relieve their distress by bringing them to a more philosophical plane. Good luck. While Krishna's messenger continued speaking with Nanda, the night ended, O king. The women of the cowherd village rose from bed and lighting lamps worshipped their household deities. Then they began churning yogurt into butter. There's nothing more ecstatic than churning. It's such a miracle. You know, with those ropes, we used to do that at Prem Kishores, and it was like a churning rod. And I forgot how they did it, but somehow with a tree and you tie the rope and you put the milk and then you just can't wait. And then all of a sudden you're waiting and then it gets a little bit yellowish and then it begins to separate. And then you take the buttermilk and you squeeze lemon in it and you put sugar in it. At least that's what as they pulled on the churning ropes with their bangles, the women of Vraja shone with the splendor of their jewels, which reflected the lamp's light. Their hips, breasts, and necklaces moved about, and their faces, anointed with reddish kumkum, glowed radiantly with the luster of their earrings reflected from their cheeks. As the ladies of Braja loudly sang the glories of lotus-eyed Krishna, their songs blended with the sound of their churning, ascended to the sky and dissipated all inauspiciousness in every direction. When the godly sun had arisen, the people of Vraja noticed the golden chariot in front of Nanda Mahārāja's doorway. Who does this belong to? They asked. That's where I'm about up to. Okay, Jamunajaya, are you still there to start us off?
Yes, Raj, I'm still here. Thank you for class. There was a lot of really wonderful, wonderful points. I really loved, it was sort of what you started yesterday about that when you took your hands and made sort of like the circle of ignorance. I really love that image a lot, and that what you just said, that what will clear the cloud of our intelligence is humility. And that was it's such a good image because you took your hands like that, and then I can also almost see it like dissolving away. Yeah, little circle.
You see, that's yours. You have a big space. Mine is like this.
Circle. I also I just loved also that analogy about how Nanda and Yashoda, the right brain, left brain love, just really made a lot of sense to me.
I made that up. I hope it's right. I never read anything. But somehow Nanda Mahārāja was able to function and Yashoda wasn't. They were both devastated.
Yeah.
But one could speak, the other couldn't even speak.
I love that. That made a lot of sense. I don't know. I forget. I know one side of the brain is the other. I don't know if but that made sense to me. Thank you, Maharaj.
The right brain is the intellect. The left brain is
Intellect.
the emotion. And men generally are more right-brained, and generally women are more left-brained.
Right. then that makes sense. Thank you, Maharaj. And thank you for yesterday. It was a wonderful celebration.
What did you like? What do you remember?
Oh, there's so much. Well, Yanath doing Rodney Dangerfield was quite a experience. I laughed so hard.
I wrote half of the script. It was my idea.
It was awesome. He was nervous about it, I know, because he was like, oh my goodness, but he just was, I've never seen him do full on his thing. You know, I know what he does, but I've never seen him do it. So that was a big highlight. And Missy's initiation, of course, or I should say, Madhurya Radhika initiation was really wonderful. And also, like you said, the service of the team, the ladies and everybody that set up, it was just amazing. Jasubhadra and Govardhan and Kaveri and of course Rati, and Bhakti Devi came the day before, all the service, Alal Govinda, so many, all the folks that were serving, so beautiful.
Great, okay, great. Okay, anybody else like to say hello?
Hello, Maharaj. I had a wonderful time yesterday. Thank you so much, and gosh, it was just so wonderful to see that Sanga of all those devotees that I love so much. And particularly Gail, she's kind of like a sister to me because we've been in so many Sangas together. I was just so happy to see her. And it was a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Maharaj.
I was so surprised that you came, because I knew, it's all the way from Washington just for a day.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. And that was great, sitting there at the table with the New Yorkers.
Yes, the New Yorkers. Thank you for upgrading me to the New York table there. I was trying to hold my own. Some sharp guys there.
Well, you're not as insulting as the rest, so.
I'm not very good at insulting people.
No, you're not good. So you just have to sit there and listen to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Haridas.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Anybody else say hello? Any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Gail, okay.
Yeah, and Henry, that was so sweet. Thank you so much. And I wanted to, Joseph told me that every time he hears from you, he gets a takeaway, And so I'm like geared up to hear what this like deep philosophical takeaway was this time. And so he tells me that it was when a person falls off the Empire State Building and they reach the 50th floor and they say, so far, so good. That was his takeaway yesterday.
Well, Joseph and my relationship is one on comedy. So,
yeah.
Right. So, of course, he enjoyed that.
That's his most prominent
How did he
feature.
like the Rodney Dangerfield?
Yeah, I mean, he did like it, but there were a lot of ISKCON insight stuff that was
Just the fact that Rodney Dangerfield came and he's a big fan must have been great.
Yeah, he so I did tell him that I didn't tell him it was Rodney Dangerfield that was coming, but I told him that you had a big surprise for him. And just hearing that was like, my goodness, it was like he was going to faint.
But he doesn't like he's so humble. He doesn't like all the elaborate service. So
no, he doesn't. He doesn't want to be the subject of the object. I mean, the object of
he's humble. I think next year we'll just have the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just feels bad for everybody else that doesn't.
Yeah, I know. He's kind of a saintly person in his own way. So.
But I cannot deny that.
It's a point there, I had my table that maybe we'll just have tables where people could sit, you know what I'm saying? Because it's because remember, generally the only VIP table was with my mother. And because you were her best friend, then your husband got to sit there.
Yeah.
Right?
By guilt by association. Yeah.
So but he's older, he's 68 years old, he should sit at a table,
Yeah, I mean, he has to have a chair.
When he told me he's 68, I said, how did you marry someone who's only 30?
He was a cradle robber, Maharaj.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else?
Maharaj, wait, I did have one point real quick. Talking about the prominence. I think it's a matter of prominence that the father is the protector and the mother is the maintainer, because mothers are also fiercely protective, So
Right,
I think
I made that up, Gail. So only because generally the father is the one that sets more the boundaries, and the mother is more the one that gives the love and the affection in nurturing. But it's not an absolute rule. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's where I got it, the protector and the maintainer. But Krishna is the maintainer and protector. So I just kind of put that in there. It was my own thing. You'll never find it in any Shastra. I made it up. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Tota Gopinath here.
Kishori Radha and Priya.
Priya. Wow. What a nice day. Okay. Haribo. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Madhurya Radhika here. Thank you so much for yesterday. And always when you say that you're kind of tired, that's when your classes are like the most fired up. So it was a really great class today. And yesterday was beautiful.
Passionate.
You're most passionate. Yeah.
72-year-old men shouldn't eat 2 cups of sweet rice. I'm not tired. I'm the opposite of tired. I'm down. Okay.
Well, it was a great class. Thank you for yesterday. And we are on cleanup duty next year, and we will not be at a table because it's been 2 years, and I'm not.
Well, I did it. The reason I
so.
did it this time, and I hope, is because Yadanath and Beth were there, and they're kind of distinguished guests. And they're your counselors. So that's why I did it this year. Tell Ed next year he's on the floor. Okay.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna.
Ibo, I saw your little celebration there, huh?
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening.
How was the reception? Okay.
Yeah, it was okay. We had at the beginning, the sound wasn't clear enough, the quality of sound and things. But when you were talking and from your laptop, it was great. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, okay. You could hear it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who was there in Tehran? Because I saw you were reading. Who?
Yes, Siddheshwari was here, and 2-3 other devotees were here.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we had a little celebration,
Yeah.
and I made the Supreme Personality of Rice for you, but I couldn't deliver it to you, unfortunately.
You made the Supreme Personality of Rice?
Yeah, the one that you
ate
like.
white rice, and there was something in it. They had some white rice there. It must have been that I actually tasted it or something.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I couldn't deliver it, Maharaj.
But Mars did receive it from there.
What, it was good?
Yeah, it was amazing.
You sent me you sent me a picture of the food too. What was that? Crepes? There was some other thing.
Yeah, Siddheshwari made, her cooking is also wonderful. So it was a great combination and everything was going together so well.
I'm going to tell a story now and people appreciate this. This year, Siddheshri Narmsaki and Nityangi at Bhagavati's house, which is like a kitchen, they cooked a feast for me and all the people in my tour, and Raghunath and his group. And we went over there, and it's, Iranian cooking at its best. It's so subtle. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of heavy spice. There's not a lot of heavy oils, but it's very tasteful. And things like the pomegranate walnut chutney and things like this, and and even the sweet is not so sweet, and it's everything subtle. So then when we got to the evening, we had this big kirtan, and Raghunath was there, and he's kind of a little of a star, so the people came. But I said, okay, Raghunath, let this Manas Goswami do kirtan first. So this Manas Goswami, he's just like a virtuoso. You've never heard anybody sing like this person in your life. If you remind me, I'll send you videos if your mother hadn't, because she was there to hear him. It's just another level. And he sang, and I said, okay, Raghunath, your attempt. Say, I can't sing. How can I sing after him? I can't sing after him. She said, no, go sing. You can sing after him. No, I can't sing after him. I said, Raghunath, people came here to hear you. So he gets up. He says, I'm a little bit embarrassed to sing, right? It's like that Iranian cooking. So he represents like the Iranian, his singing represents the Iranian cooking. And I'm like a veggie burger. If any of you ever get the opportunity to, Henry, if that country ever becomes liberated, we have to fly over there. But I don't know. Okay.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Namaste here.
Okay. Hello. Were you able to hear?
Yeah. Pardon me. Excuse me.
Were you able to hear the
Yeah. At the first half an hour, I didn't have the reception, but after that, yes, I could until the end. That was wonderful.
Okay.
And I also cooked some the rice and the paste and some sweet rice for you. Yeah. I wish you could be here and taste
What I'd like to do is in the future, fly into Tehran, then go to Kish, and then go up to your farm and go on an eating tour. And we'll have 3 teams. We'll have Tehran, Kish, and your farm.
Yeah, the north.
And I'll bring 2 people, and we'll have a contest. We'll vote.
Wow.
Where the food is the best. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Thank you
so much, Maharaj.
Min, Hare Krishna. Min?
Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. I just wanted to thank you so much for having me at the celebration yesterday. I just, to me, it was a cultural shock because I've never met devotees in real life, and I saw bhakti that I've been learning about unfold in real time, and which is so beautiful.
That is, and I'll tell you, did you make that painting?
Yes, I made that for you.
That is absolutely stunning.
Thank you. I'm
And
glad you like
second, we should speak on the phone. If you're free tomorrow, send me a time and we should do a Zoom, okay?
Okay. Can I email you?
Yeah, email me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Eunice there, hi Bo.
Sorry, I missed the celebration, Maharaj.
Okay, I'll invite you next year. You'd really enjoy it.
Please do.
And you can sit at the TKG table with Arjuna, Satyaraj, Henry.
Oh, that would be great.
And good luck with your health.
Thank you. Minor procedure tomorrow, but we'll get through it.
Okay. Everybody wait, I want to show you Min's painting she made for me. Take a second. I don't know how well you could see it, but if someone can make, Haibo, can you make, can you see it?
Yes, we can see.
It's beautiful.
We can see it.
Isn't it?
Amazing. It's amazing.
It's
I know.
beautiful.
Bhakti, quite beautiful, right? Here, okay, here it is. I guess it's a reflection, but that also makes it more mystical. Beautiful, huh? Wow. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Oh, Bhakti Devi, Haribo.
Haribo, how are you feeling today?
Great.
Yeah,
great.
good. Yeah, you look great and you look really happy.
This is my day off.
Yeah, it was a wonderful celebration, and I was very happy to be in association with everybody. I kind of have been missing that lately, so I was very
Wasn't that
happy.
nice? And you came the day before too.
Yes, yes.
Nice seeing all those nice devotee ladies, a little mature.
Yes, it was wonderful.
And they're nice association. They have a nice kind of community among them, you know.
And Kaveri is very creative, I have to say. She's really, she was amazing. They're all great. And
You ever see some of her artwork?
oh yeah. But what she did with that altar, and how it was really quite beautiful what she did with that altar.
And she told me that you strung all the marigolds.
Yeah. Yes, I got a good lesson.
Yeah, that
was
was
great.
nice. It was regal, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it's
It was
beautiful.
like my Aishwarya manifestation, and last year was my Madhurya manifestation. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hey, anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Śrī-Narvika.
We missed you.
I know, I missed you all as well.
But I'm happy because still, when I saw your name, I said, great, Śrī-Narvika is going to be in class. And I guess that's the benefit of having Sunday off.
Yes.
There was a consolation prize, but yeah, it was just nice. Go ahead.
And I heard a lot of reflection from everyone, so I feel like I was there a little bit.
Oh, how did you hear them?
No, now during the class, you were saying again that
yeah.
you want to die, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully next year in Newburgh.
Yes.
Hopefully. Yeah, well, of course, that's your god brother and god sister's place. So yeah, that's good. Okay.
And maybe my husband will be here as well. So both of us will come.
We'd love it because the kirtans were so great. And if we had him, and I just added more kirtans spontaneously. I kept on stopping the ceremony, like after the yeah, I just before my talk we had kirtan again, and after my talk we had kirtan again. At the end we had kirtan again, so it was great. Okay, Haribo.
Wonderful, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Gumaraj.
And Braja, thank you for
Thank
class.
you for class.
Fun yesterday, huh?
Great.
Yeah, it was great. Glad you had a great time.
What's that?
I'm glad you had a good time.
We all had a great time.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't just me that was enjoying.
Well, it was for you, so I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did. But just because everybody else was enjoying, that was my only pleasure.
That was great.
Okay. Haribo.
Haribo.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. All right. I'm going to head out. It was just great being with everyone. And I'll just continue the day here. Okay.